versus KRU. Game 1, begin.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to day 2 of the NA Apocalypse. Can GENG stop this tide of NA teams falling short here at the Major? They're not facing a European squad, but they're facing a very hungry squad here in KRU.
They've got a better chance of stopping KRU than you to stop that accent for the rest of the weekend. Let's get this game going. Lower round 1 here between GENG Mobile One Racing and KRU Esports. You heard the desk talk about it. Midfield game's going to be a big factor coming into this series. We know GENG are able to control the pace. We saw KRU give that up to Rule 1 yesterday. How will adjustments be made after so much time for both of these teams to look at the tape and figure things out?
Oh, for GENG, they're going to make somebody not named Drafinho beat them. He was brilliant against Rule 1. Didn't get a whole lot of help. As Brad will bring this around, got the challenge, and it's going to be Nolly alone at the back. This brought across, nobody there, so Drops will give it a look, but he's beaten by Jack. Drafinho, 1.5 goals per game. Yesterday he had 6 goals through the 4 games with Rule 1. That is bonkers.
Question is, can he continue to play at that level? Right now, you're seeing a little bit of physicality on the side of GENG. I saw Chronic get a demo in the midfield, and again, more space kind of being taken up, but Drafinho's been in the back every time. Good couple of stops from him, as so far, KRU now just trying to, again, get a little bit of control and semblance of the gameplay.
Nolly quickly launches this out, tried to chase it down himself. He'll give way to apparently Jack. And it's Brad up a little late, but there is Drafinho at the back to bail out KRU and keep this a scoreless draw. But again, more pressure out of GENG right out of the gates. They're not letting KRU breathe much at all. Nolly has options. Thought about bringing it to Jack. That was disrupted. And now GENG has to scramble back a little bit and delay and just about give possession back to KRU, though they don't seem like they're in too much of a hurry to take it.
Yeah, they've been really kind of biding their time, just waiting back, and then you're starting to see them bring out more counterattacks. It'd be interesting, though, they haven't been too successful. GENG's been doing a great job of keeping up the pace this time, even there. Just a little bit too far forward on the side of GENG, but no danger as no one from KRU was able to jump on it.
It's Jack chasing this one down himself. Doesn't have many options with him. They're all behind him. So he goes after contact, missed Drops. So now Drops a little wave dash to try and get downfield. He didn't have much in the tank. Drafinho trying to go to work, and he can't get around on this ball. Nolly making sure to grab a full tank of boost. He's got Jack in the midfield. Drops is there to disrupt the pass, and Brad with a full tank gets in Nolly's way. So KRU doing just enough to keep GENG at bay, but they haven't had many good looks at the GG net.
Or really too much consistent offensive pressure. GENG's been doing a great job of just being able to pass the ball out in transition, which has made KRU just kind of have to keep their heads on a swivel to see where everybody is on and off ball, giving them less time to also set up on that offensive front. They've been working and fighting for possession so long. This is probably the most consistent we've seen all game.
KRU with this kind of at the back of their minds, as Drops has to deflect this one out towards the side. Trying to bet on themselves here. A win here means that Sam1 will get into the main event at the World Championship. Puts themselves in a good spot to be that #1 team as this goes central. Boomed, well, not really boomed away by Brad. I thought he was just gonna launch it. Instead, he played it close. Opportunity here for KRU, but Chronic has that ball away. Nolly will give chase. Just got it over Drafinho, but it will fall back towards Brad. And back and forth we go with not many good looks on either side here. Both defenses very staunch.
Yeah, you can see a lot of respect being given. No one is pushed too aggressively on offense to try to make a play happen. Jack, though, might have something here. He's trying to get the flip, wanted to get that dunk, but it's a good challenge from Brad. Nolly wants to keep this in play, but you see that clearance downfield. Chronic respecting it, going all the way back. Again, just trying to avoid the danger of a possible counterattack.
I caught an awkward deflection going downfield, and now Nolly just barely beaten to it. So now Chronic for Nolly, who was still downfield. Jack pre-jumped, and Brad King was right there. So again, KRU shut down GENG, tried to turn it into offense on the other side, but they're turned away for the moment, as Chronic will send this deep into the corner, pump the brakes, and let them play it right back to him. Brad is there, though, all alone at the backboard, and all the time in the world to play this. got a piece of Jack, shot wide, and Chronic had to make sure of it.
You're seeing Crew turn on the physicality late here. Again, more demos coming out. That one between Noli and Brad. But again, that was how Crew got that last chance offensive play, just trying to, again, get those bumps out. Noli with a big whiff, but Chronic is able to keep things up as we approach the final 10. GENG trying to set up a play, and Chronic will snipe the lower left corner.
He had 3 in their series yesterday with BDS, and he gets an unassisted goal here to break a scoreless deadlock with only 11 seconds to go. They finally found a soft spot in the Crew defense. 11 seconds. And now the all-important kickoff where we've seen teams throw away leads just as quickly as they've got them. And that one just barely blocked aside by Jack. Last gasp now for Crew. Nobody around us take a shot, so Drops has to play it up high. Apparently Jack holds all the cards, and he'll spike it down. GENG take game 1.
In a late play too as well. I mean, you saw what happened in that last play specifically where, GENG, lots of room. Chronic had the option of passing. Jack instead goes to take the shot, put a lot of power behind it, just recognizing the situation, which is very good on them. And one of the things we want to talk about though is that demo game, because again, Crew did have that late surge. They finished that game out with 8 demos to GENG's 4, and which is kind of interesting looking on the side of GENG Mobile One Racing. They normally don't average a lot of demos per game, but in this major so far, they're #1 in demos at 5.50. This time with the 3, which is kind of more along their normal average in the regular season.
Yeah, I think that may even come down to who they were playing yesterday as well. Team BDS, a team that, if memory serves me correctly, they get demolished quite a bit. They have to play a man down more than a lot of other teams. So they were able to rack up some of those demos yesterday, and I think against a team like Crew here, they'll have a slightly tougher time loading up on demolitions, chasing down someone like Drafinho, who's kind of slippery, and once he gets away, can really wreak some havoc for Crew.
And you seen kind of that too. I mean, Drafinho was definitely very active around the field, being able to not only make some good defensive stops, but also push past GENG on a lot of challenges to kind of set up things on offense. Keeping an eye out on Drafinho is going to be important. I kind of want to see what Brad and Drops got in store here as well. Still, 1 goal game in game 1. We get into game 2 here on Forbidden Temple. Still a chance for Crew to make some adjustments.
That last game didn't do a whole lot to hurt Drafinho's shooting percentage, which came in at over 54% from yesterday, but did not find the net at all here. 5 shots apiece for GENG and Crew in the opener. See if Forbidden Temple yields anything different as Drafinho's up the ladder. This will register as a shot, but it's saved away easily by Noli. No follow-up from Crew as GENG try to work downfield. They got the infield pass to Jack, trying to line up a double, and Brad's in his way. Follow-up from Noli, didn't quite get it as quickly out towards center for Chronic as he would have liked. Brad rolling one across, and all Drops can do is send it out further from the corner. Drafinho will go to work. He's met by Jack as well. And once again, GENG repel Crew. Oh, here goes Chronic. Flip, reset, Jack's over on the weak side. Realized he couldn't play it immediately. Had to take his time. Tried to drop it down in front. There is Chronic. Had that lone goal in game 1. Ooh. It's over towards Jack, but not far enough. The passing just has not been there for GENG in the first game in a minute.
You can see the idea, though. Noli is sending that through, knowing Jack's in the area. But instead, though, Jack just not, it's the execution that's lacking, really. Yeah. Just not being able to get to him in time, just trying to connect things, operating a little too late. Obviously, they're in a good spot right now, but if things continue in that pace, it could spell trouble for them if they can't really create on offense.
Yeah, this is not putting enough pace on those passes. A shot goes high. Follow-up is sent further downfield by Brad. And Chronic, well, not the best of flicks, as this goes right back netward towards the GENG end. And it's Drafinho waiting, but he's beaten by Chronic. Chronic beats another. He's still downfield. He got in Brad's way. Noli out for Jack, and still disrupted again. Crew fend off GENG yet again for now. Apparently Jack coming up empty. Loose ball there, but Drops heads up play to send it away.
And this has been good for Crew, just being able to get those challenges in their own half, being able to get the ball out. Now it's just about taking control on that offensive front.
Well, Drops circling around now at that back boost. He's got a little bit of time. A rare case where he's got some time to work. GENG have kind of been all over Crew as a whole. As now Drafinho, hard to the backboard. It's available, but Nolly was there instead. Chronic whipping on the redirect. And drops up there as well with apparently Jack. He'll play it across Chronic, and that means only Nolly at the back to beat him. Now a follow-up from Drafinho for their first goal, and he scores!
Big play there just to be able to set up Drafinho. Look at drops here. Great lead, knows he has Chronic behind him, just wants to play at 50. That bump on Nolly is so big, it's just enough space. We talked about capitalizing on that space. Drafinho right there in time to give KRU the first goal of game 2.
So KRU get their first lead, their first goal. What can they do with it? Oh, apparently give it right back. Jack Benton with the dunk of the century.
There it is. Jack, though, off the ceiling. Drafinho tries to go up. Jack has a read, and that has to bounce right into the net. KRU, even after their first goal, gives it back to GENG Mobile One Racing just like that.
So we're right back where we started. Oh, Drafinho's giving this one away to Chronic.
Nolly.
That's the worst case scenario as Nolly runs forward. Chronic and Nolly give GENG the lead.
I mean, immediately, as soon as they saw the opportunity, Chronic slows it down. Nolly speeding up. Look at them. They're right next to each other. That light touch, that just additional pressure. Defense from KRU not ready. Back-to-back goals from GENG.
Normally, when you see that, it looks like a double commit. It ends in disaster. Not so much this time. GENG all over KRU now. 2 unanswered goals. That gets around Brad. Almost through drops as well. Brad will try and flip it further ahead. He's there with Nolly trying to screen him off the play. And now apparently Jack has left the wall. And he also left the ball for Chronic. Chronic has his flip, we think. Yes, he does, but it's right there on Brad's doorstep, and he'll send it away.
KRU now, they have to start to try something new. Drafinho's getting bumped by Nolly while Chronic goes up. Jack in the air early as well. Light touches there as GENG trying to dictate the pace of the game, but KRU still fighting for every inch of the field.
KRU have 9 goals as a team here at Agganis Arena. Drafinho scored 7 of them, including the one in this game. Shutout in game 1. The only difference being the Chronic goal with 11 seconds left. Much more offense this time around, but still most of it belongs to GENG, and even more coming. Chronic got a piece of drops, but he could not get the ball to go as well. And back go Chronic and Jack. Nolly waiting at the net. No, he'll go all the way across for a ball that never got to him.
Even though you see that GENG sometimes get beat, like 2 men get beat there in the midfield, someone is able to get that final touch. It just shows you how confident they are as last man, very aggressive, not just waiting on that back end, because they want to make KRU as awkward as possible. And it's starting to show there. That was very uncharacteristic from Drafinho. 30 seconds remaining. KRU need to get it together.
He's human after all. 20 seconds. GENG is trying to put the clamps down here. It is Chronic. Try to spike down on one where drops was. Brad couldn't get this further downfield. It's apparently Jack to burn the final 7 seconds. Drops got to work from his own back line. KRU got to join him. Nolly will slow him down again. Drafinho will trigger the attack. It is Brad. It is not in the air, and it's GENG on triple match point.
And they've been working at their own pace. They've been playing their game, and you can see just how that looks. They've put KRU in their own back half, and not only have they not let them out, but they're limiting them even in the shooting department. Only 3 shots from KRU that game. A team that normally, even Johnny was talking about it. You think of this type of team expecting a little bit of aggression, but they've been changing the way that they've approached the game. It has not been successful here in this series, besides the shot there that we saw from Drafinho here on the Mobile One High Performance replay. After that, those 2 back-to-back goals from GENG put them in the lead, and they never looked back.
Everybody shoots, everybody scores for GENG officially. Nolly getting the cheeky last touch on the goal that gave GENG the lead for good in game 2. Had a goal and an assist for him. 1 each for Chronic, and the goal as well for apparently Jack, as we look at Drops, who is in danger of playing his last game here at this major alongside Brad and Drafinho. Drops has had a few assists. He's been kind of a table setter. His defense has been solid. I mean, listen, they've only given up the 3 goals to GENG, but unfortunately the offense has not been there for KRU.
Talk about that placebo there on the screen. I mean, his hair does look kind of fresh right now. I don't know. Hopefully he didn't placebo himself. Either way, he had an assist last game. Let's see if Drops and the rest of KRU can do more. They need to do more. World's conversation, lives on the table in the spring major. They are one game away from elimination.
And another team, of course, that will have their eyes on this, Ninjas in Pajamas. Of course, we could hear the KRU squad reacting, or rather, we heard the NIP squad reacting to KRU's series with Rule 1 yesterday. As much as you would like to see your own region perform well, they're still competing with each other for spots at the World Championship. As here goes Drafinho. Got a piece of it, did Nolly, and Drops has that go to the side, courtesy of apparently Jack. Drops can stay with this play. Doesn't really have anybody to pass to, though. It was going to be way too close to the net. Easily cleared away by Jack and company. There's Chronic. His shot denied by Drops. Watch the follow-up, though. It's Nolly on the right side.
That pressure as GENG moved upfield. Great disruption by Chronic, forcing that awkward touch out of Drops, and Nolly picked it right up and put it to the top right corner. They start things off quickly here with the first goal.
They scored with 11 seconds remaining in game 1. They go with 4:11 in game 3. So it's a lot of time for KRU to work with. But they've got to get possession first and foremost. They got to keep it away from that man, Chronic. As now Drafinho will send it downfield. They'll play away from him. And apparently Jack just delays. Chronic will send it across, and they've got KRU just chasing this ball all over the field and not really able to play the kind of possession game they might like to play.
Oh man, but that's a good 50 win from Chronic. Not able to get the follow-up touch. Drafinho jumping for that, actually expected someone to turn. He'll end up getting a flick towards Jack there. Jack able to make the save on the goal line and just carry this ball very slowly upfield, leaving it for Chronic. Good 50s on the side of GENG, and they're even looking for more. You saw Chronic try to get a bump on Brad. You can just feel the confidence in GENG when they're just pushing upfield. It feels like they're not really necessarily worried right now. I mean, they're in a good spot in the series, but KRU, they have to be able to take that from them, make them awkward on the back end.
Jack trying to navigate through traffic, but he's demolished, and then Chronic avenges him. So the back pass goes to Nolly, but it's right at Brad. Problem for KRU here, even when they do have players in position for any kind of infield pass, they haven't been on the point. As this is going to go through. Who else but Drafinho, even through the deflection?
He needs to step up right here when his team needs it most, and boy, does he. No one else able to get that follow-up. He puts it off the bar, off the defender, and in. And KRU with signs of life. Just under 3 minutes to go, we're back tied up.
Well, nobody else is going to score, so he might as well do it all himself. Gonna serve it up for Brad while he goes back for boost. He's gonna start creeping up. Brad lining up a double. No, Nolly booms it away, and it will be Drafinho at the back, who had an attacker bearing down on him as well. Nolly set it up for Jack. This could waterfall downward. It's cleared away, but only as far as Chronic. It's a clean read off the backboard, and apparently Jack will easily drift it home.
I see KRU on the back wall. I'm like, where's the sense of urgency? Then it just turns into panic. Two people go up, no one able to get a touch. Jack just has the lightest shot of his life into the top left corner. And GENG don't have to do much to get that. KRU kind of put it on a platter for him.
Well, what we learned yesterday, especially for North American teams, empty nets are not guarantees. So Jack giving GENG the lead. 2-1 was the scoreline in the previous game as well. If this holds, GENG will advance into the next round later on today, and KRU will be done with the major before the crowd shows up. Here goes Drops. Flick on, and Nolly set it away. All Drops can do here is just pop this up, and he's just served it up for Chronic. There was nobody else that could come up and play that ball. Again, KRU has not really been able to work as a team here. Drafinho almost able to get a demo from behind on his way back, but still just a little bit too slow, as apparently Jack will easily have this one. Brad and Chronic get tied up in the GENG net, but he's got to get back now because Jack starting to streak down the side.
Minute 45 to go here. KRU with the ball, just trying to get this. They actually roll it all the way to the goal line. Jack, who had 0, just ends up getting a good 50, tried to wave dash to get to it, and now you see GENG clearing it out. KRU not fighting, though, to keep it in. They don't have too many more opportunities as the clock ticks down. They need to make the most out of their plays. As Drafinho tried to get one through, but Chronic with the block.
That was one of their better setups, but still thwarted by the GENG defense. Here goes Brad and Drafinho. It's Rafinha that's going to take charge from the back. He'll launch it forward.
What?
Got it by everybody, but it's wide. Oh, a lucky break for GENG.
Yeah, because no one hit that. No one on the side of GENG ends up touching the ball there. KRU still have this one here in the offensive front. They're trying to see if they can get wrapped around a GENG that's set in, has boosted up, but that's a big clear downfield. Drop will be able to get it back in time before it rolls into the net.
Free ball for Chronic, and he's just put it wide. It beat the defensive KRU, who get a lucky break themselves. It's now Jack across. Nobody else there. He had to go a long way to try and chase that himself. The net's open, and Nolly couldn't get to it. Brad adds a goal, and KRU have tied it.
Brad found some space and took advantage of it. Once he realized Noli was on the turn, immediately put that shot through. Noli tried to get back in time, but it's just not good enough. You're starting to see KRU fight for their lives here with 36 seconds to go.
What happens on this kickoff? It's apparently Jack forward, and Brad right there for it, through the smoke screen, still with it. Only for the moment. Rafinha had Chronic in his way. Down to 22 seconds. Jack couldn't sneak that in on the near side. It's Chronic now.
Demo.
To the back wall. It's in front, and Rafinha there to power it out. Down to 10 seconds. Overtime looming now in game 3. It's a game that KRU must win to keep their tournament hopes alive. Nolly ranging back. This time he's got it. Rafinha has it central. It's floating towards the net, and Nolly there with one more save. And surely headed towards overtime.
They did!
Oh, they got greedy, and Rafinha made him pay!
You said it just right there. Unbelievable from Rafinha. Sniped it out of Jack's hands and pushed it right into the back of the net. There will be no sweep here. KRU said they got one more in them at least, as they end up taking this one, but in 0 seconds. So well done from everybody, especially Brad there. He had quite the game. 4 saves from him, a couple of shots, shot 50%, and also had an assist there with Rafinha. Just so well done on the side of KRU. I mean, again, I was looking for the sense of urgency in them a little bit later on in the game, and they definitely, you could just feel it. They just turned up the energy towards the end.
I wonder, of course, there's still a lot of Rocket League to go here, but you wonder how long that's going to linger for GENG, keeping that ball up and even looking downfield when you could just drop it. You're deep in your own territory. They didn't really have a play developed going downfield. They give it up. Rafinha picked them apart right at the last second, and there is life now for the #1 seed out of South America, trying to keep their tournament alive, get one more match later on today.
One of the things that was also interesting too, like on that stat line, was I believe Rafinha had 6 demos. He was the only one on the side of KRU with demos that game. And things looking a little, the lives that Wave was talking about earlier on the desk kind of gone now. So take a look at Jack here. Just trying to stay locked in. They had a chance there to close the series out. We're going to end up going to Utopia Coliseum to see whether or not KRU can force a game 5 here. GENG Mobile One Racing let that one slip out of their hands. They're going to be looking to come back with some fire.
Rafinha went into that previous game 1 for 5. Now he's 3 for 10. Just continues to get opportunities as the series rolls on, but the net's open, and Nolly will score. 17 seconds in, exactly what GENG needed after giving up that 0-second goal in the previous game.
Big on Nolly. He sets this play up and he knocks it down. Gets the demo on the back end, creates the space, knows the situation, and puts the shot through.
So there's one for GENG. Of course, they had the very early goal in the previous game, and KRU came back. A lot of game to go as Jack will bring that back down to Chronic. Nolly waiting as he'll circle around and take this. Instead, he's a decoy. Jack called him off, and the shot still blocked away. Well defended by KRU in a real tough spot. Watch the counterattack now as Drops will try to center. Instead, it goes off him, leaves it in the corner, and Jack had an awkward time of that in the corner, so Rafinha was able to catch up to him. And where GENG might have been able to get out a little bit quicker, they had to take their time.
And they do have to think about their approach here now moving forward as well. We've seen KRU score just off the slimmest of space, slimmest of margins given to them. GENG's rotations are going to be called into question here. They have the lead right now. They have control of the game too. Ball in the blue half. It's just about those rotations. The lapse of judgment sometimes makes a big difference.
Big difference from facing a team like Rule 1 that will just take the first shot available. I mean, they will shoot without any regard at all for quality of the look. To facing a team like GENG, they gave up almost 12 shots a game yesterday against Rule 1. GENG have not hit double-digit shots in any game just yet, though they've had plenty of decent chances. 9 shots in that last game. Well on their way here in Game 4, another closeout opportunity against KRU, but it's Brad up towards drops. Nobody else really running forward, though, as Brad was just kind of waiting for the pass, and that's really a big difference, I think, Daz, between these two teams. If that's GENG, somebody's already in the air before that pass goes in towards the infield.
Yeah, we, again, just kind of being a little bit more spaced out on the side of KRU, not trying to give anything up counterattack-wise, and they really haven't here, but they got to be careful. You're starting to see GENG look at that backboard, see if they have any options available. Infield pass comes in, and it will be blocked out by drops. Jack trying to increase the lead to 2.
Rafinho chasing this around the corner. Nolly and Jack are there. This beats 2, and they've got a numbers advantage going downfield. It is drops looking for the tie, but it's blocked away by the last man back, Chronic. So now Rafinho, first touch to keep that for himself, and now he's got to work right through the middle, looking for drops, instead finding Chronic. Here goes apparently Jack now. Flick on, and true, 2-0.
Big flick there from Jack to push that through. You watch this though. You see him with the catch initially. He sees the ball immediately, right on top of the hood. Big flick pass, then drops, even though he recognized it, just not able to get the reaction in time. KRU, 2 minutes, 16 seconds. They need at least 2 to equalize here, otherwise they're going home.
Kind of the story for GENG offensively is the attack would always have to run through Jack and kind of finish with Chronic. It's been the exact opposite here. Chronic's got 5 assists now in this series. Jack with a trio of goals. They've all been pretty big ones as well. That goes down towards Chronic. Jack couldn't stay with it. As this goes back towards Nolly. Good possession out of GENG on the defensive end. And Nolly fights his way through to get it across the center line, slowing down KRU even more. And every time they get a touch around the midfield line away from KRU, the task of coming back becomes that much tougher for the South Americans.
And not only this, I mean, just being able to have to carry this ball out, just creating consistent pressure has been something that they have not done too well this series. They'll really need some magic here as the clock starts to tick.
A real confident challenge by Chronic, and now apparently Jack trying to weave his way through, and drops is there as the last resort for KRU. Now Brad's got to get it away. He's got to be sure-handed with this, and he is as he breaches the center line. What else can they do? They got the ball central, but it's going to be Rafinho picking up the scraps at the back. Brad too far away from the play, so this goes right back down towards the KRU corner. And GENG are happy to just keep repeating over and over again. Dump it in the corner, make them chase it down.
KRU have to send the house at this point. They're doing a good job being spread out. They're not giving too much to GENG, but GENG don't need to take anything. They've already got a 2-goal lead here in the final minute. KRU have to force the issue.
I think if you looked at who grabs the midfield boost on either side more, it would be overwhelmingly in favor of GENG. They have just forced KRU back into their own defensive end for much of this game. There's a rare opportunity from drops. It's still sent away from the post. And then Rafinho with a whiff. And Brad trying to bring it across, but he doesn't have much in the tank. Race to the midfield. There's no boost there. It's all the way across, almost taunting them. Down to 11 seconds. Drops and KRU have got to get on their horse and go, but they're not going to have enough time. GENG will survive and advance. And a rare bright spot for North America here in the lower bracket.
And what a way to end it from that man, Chronic. Beautiful goal there to solidify the series for GENG Mobile One Racing. They look in form today, as they need to in elimination. And of course, obviously, we have to say goodbye to KRU. They end up losing this series in 4. Did put up a fight, but GENG just looked like the better team out there.
And bad news for elsewhere in South America. That means Era Eternity also is out of the world's picture as well. That was, of course, a long shot to begin with. But GENG survive and advance after, I mean, what can you say? It was a brilliant closeout, right? I mean, bouncing back after giving up the 0-second goal, and you wonder, is there going to be any kind of regret there for giving Drafinho a shot? Not so much. They score early, they score often enough, and they had kind of a stranglehold on that entire game against KRU.
Yeah, of course, those people who are looking at GENG are going to, or at least in terms of how they'll fare in the Space Station gaming match later on today, are looking at that play style, seeing how composed they are, but also seeing them connect with each other in the passing lanes as well, seeing how aggressive they are in the demos. It's been very one-sided in terms of that series. Obviously, KRU ended up sniping things in Game 3 as we take one more look at the Mobile One high-performance replay. Like you said, Stacks, GENG survive and advance, and it may not be an apocalypse as you were alluding to earlier.
Right, at least we can feel pretty confident now we're going to have a North American team at some point in the top 8 of this whole thing when all is said and done. As we look back, and apparently Jack had 3 of those goals, 3 out of the 8 that GENG scored as a team. And, I mean, this is exactly what GENG needed. They needed a strong, solid performance, and now they've got it. Jack had 3 of those goals, so Travis Hale is standing by with our friend Jack Benton.
Thank you very much, Sean Stackhouse. I got to ask, though, how does Dazarin keep finding himself on these GENG casts? It's ridiculous. It's all written in the script. But, Jack, the desk alluded to yesterday that you guys seem to have a business mindset to this major. What's the mentality behind that as approaching it to just, okay, we got to go in, we got to do our jobs. We're not going this just to have fun.
Yeah, so obviously our seed is locked for Worlds. So we don't really have much to play for in terms of that, apart from the other teams. They always have the seed to play for. So it's just kind of make sure we're prepared for Worlds and have a good performance here so we can go into Worlds strong.
I mean, obviously another major win would be lovely. You get some more points, which you guys don't really need. You get a little more dollars, which is always nice to add to the bank account, but you guys are playing for so much more. And throughout this spring split, you guys played great, and you played great Team Rocket League. 86% of the time, you guys had an assist attached to a goal. Pretty good stats. I want to know, as a team leader, what's the philosophy behind those plays?
Yeah, so we know we're at our best when we're playing as a team. Obviously, we have strong individual talents here, but we're not like the most individually talented team here, and that's just a fact. But our strengths are when we're just coming together and making sure we're getting on to each other's touches and stuff like that. Didn't even know it was 86%, so I'm surprised about that. But yeah, just kind of a team mindset. If every player has their teammates playing for each other, then every player on the team has 2 people playing for them. If everyone plays for themselves, they have 1.
Now that makes sense, and you guys had that stat. You also had great stats all over the place, like great save percentage. So with all of those top leading stats, why did this team barely squeak into the major with the 5th seed?
Yeah, so we've had a few confidence issues but I think it's evident. I think when you're first in points and you're not quite performing the way you want to individually and as a team, it's going to bring you down a bit. So I guess that attributes to it a little bit. But it's just about keeping our heads high, and just make sure we go on.
Now, we all know that there's a lot of mentality that goes into the game of Rocket League. So going into the last regional, playing in a tiebreaker to make your spot in the major, what does that do to a player? I mean, the ups and downs, what is that like inside your head in that moment?
I mean, it's a feeling that you can't quite describe. You hate it and you love it at the same time. It's every competitor knows what I mean. And we just went into that match with a mindset that we're going to have fun. I think is probably the best for us in that space that we were in at the time. It's easy to get nervous, it's easy to lose your cool, but as long as you just have fun with it, nothing can really go wrong.
Well, that's what we're going to do here. We're going to have fun all weekend long. I look forward to watching you play more. And again, we have to bid adieu to KRU Esports. They played a great battle, but for them, tournament's over, and we're going to keep on keeping on.
GENG Mobile One Racing